Now, I think I may have been a little too harsh on AT&T in the past. So AT&T would give me a blocky stream. However, what I'm finding with Verizon is that there's a lot of areas where there's just no stream. So again, like AT&T, people would say you look like a pixel, this is blocky. With Verizon, I get a little notice on my phone saying, attempting connection and then connection failed. Attempting connection, connection failed. And now I remember why I switched off Verizon before, because this happened to me in Florida too. I was in Miami and I couldn't do a live stream. I often couldn't even load a website. And I thought that was just that the service with Verizon was bad in South Florida. But it seems like Verizon's actually bad everywhere now. I'm on the Wi-Fi at the gym now with a VPN. I'm on Wi-Fi here because you guessed it, no connection in the gym. So I'm going to try T-Mobile. So AT&T sucks, but it's a consistent suck. Verizon is inconsistent, but also it's oftentimes useless. I want to see how T-Mobile is. I'm very curious. I was thinking getting that Magenta Plus, Magenta Pro, whatever the fuck they call it, the $85 a month. There's like $85 or $90 plus tax a month plan. And I want to see how that is. They're not supposed to throttle you until you get to... They're not supposed to throttle you until you get to 100 gigabytes. Well, they say it's not... If the network is congested after 100 gigabytes, they throttle you, which means you get a 100 gigabyte quota. I'm not... Yeah, we may throttle you. You're a publicly traded internet service provider. Fuck out of here, you're maybe. Anyway, so I'm going to give that a shot. I want to give that a shot because I really do think that, it's really sad because I remember back in the day, like AT&T was horrible and everybody loved Verizon. 15 years ago, Verizon was the carrier where you got best service everywhere, and AT&T was the carrier where you would have to cross the street to get service when the original iPhone came out. Like when the original iPhone came out, you would literally be at a point where you had to hold your phone in the right spot just to be able to make a phone call. Like you'd see people holding their phone to the window. That shit was ridiculous. But the thing is, things have changed. Also, I'm starting to learn just how much power I have as an influencer now. Because I switched to Verizon a month and a half ago. Look what happened to Verizon stock in the last month and a half. I finally figured out why. Shareholders are watching my live streams and they're going, yo, man, I can't invest in this shit. I'm pulling our pension fund out of here. Influencing, baby, influencing. I joined a new gym. It's some fancy schmancy expensive gym. And apparently the drinks vending machine, according to one of the other people that goes here, has been broken for 3 months. The one time I didn't have my bottle of water is the time I go to a gym that has a broken vending machine. Go fucking figure. So every now and then I'm going to stop to use the drinking fountain over there so I don't dehydrate and die. Hope you don't mind. Other thing I'm sad about is I was going to try Lineage OS on my S10e, but apparently Samsung locks the bootloader on all the American models. I found a bunch of guides on how to unlock the bootloader on the Snapdragon models, but none of them work. I've also noticed a lot of those guides on how to unlock bootloaders for Android devices. It's kind of like a scam porn website. Like free porn, click here, download freeporn.exe. Like a lot of those websites that try to give you advice on how to unlock an Android bootloader, they seem like scammy porn websites that are trying to phish your browser, your banking information through your browser. Hopefully I'm not too late to convince you to T-Mobile. T-Mobile may have the great service, but they have horrible customer service. I mean, they're an ISP. Every ISP has bad service. I had to open a police report because Verizon opened up an account in my name and then sent me to collections for it without ever sending me a bill for a phone number I never had. So Verizon is so bad, I had to file a freaking police report. Verizon is bad. Fios is good. I like Fios as a service, but them as a company, the customer service, and especially their wireless is really bad now. Don't listen to anything but XDA. Yeah, according to XDA, there's no unlocking the bootloader on that. So there's no installing Lineage on it. I was really hoping to find a phone that had a headphone jack and a micro SD card slot that I could put Lineage on. Not having a micro SD card slot is really... I don't like it very much. I don't like not having a micro SD card slot. Even if I get that thing with the external thing that plugs in via USB-C for this device, it's not encrypted. So if I lose the phone, somebody could just take out the micro SD card, plug it in their computer, and get all my shit. That's not going to work either, because I lose my stuff all the time. It would be cool if Calyx added the option to encrypt an external. Added the option to encrypt an external. So that would be cool. Yeah, global model with Exynos. Boo. If I get a global model with Exynos, will it work well properly in America for 4G LTE high voltage? I don't need 5G. 5G is a fucking scam. Well, 4G LTE is fine by me. As long as I can get LTE on some sort of American network, I'm good. I'm open to buying an S10e that's global. I can't buy a OnePlus because they don't have headphone jacks and micro SD card slots. What does that mean? High voltage? It has band I can use. I get many speeds, much bandwidth. I don't know if the Nord works with Lineage though, Emily. Carrie keeps bringing it up, but I was looking for something that I could put Lineage with micro G on. No stock Android shit. No Oxygen OS. That's cope, Cliff Shockley. It's a lot of cope. I guess 25% of the internet runs through Google, so I should just have their software on my phone and have it phone home all the time and saying exactly what I'm doing, even when I don't want. I mean, there's a really good chance of a crime happening to me if I live in a particular neighborhood, so I might as well just leave my door open and throw my money out the window, right? You know? That's some cope right there, Cliff. That's some cope. And also, it's not about being worried about OnePlus. It's about not wanting to use stock Google Android. Why not flash the Pixel? I have a Pixel, but the Pixel sucks. No micro SD card slot. Girls are grossed out by green text bubbles, I've heard. Great. Excellent. Any woman that demands I talk to her over SMS that can't figure out how to use Signal or Telegram filters out all the women that are not worthy of marriage. Right there. Immediately. Bada bing. It's like a filter. It's like a filter. I stand with Brian Acton. You don't use Signal? No ring. That's how we do. The V60 has the fire hose dump and engineering bootloader leaks. The V60 is a fire hose dump. That does not have a working headphone jack. It has a unidirectional headphone jack, so it works for listening, but it doesn't work for a microphone. It mangles the audio. On the flip side, do you want someone who hides their combos with Telegram, etc.? Yeah, why not? I mean, a girl that values encryption? It's a girl after my own heart right there. A girl that values her privacy? A girl that wants to use a medium that is that allows for superior sharing of files that I could use on desktops as well. Sexy. iDog, that's a $50 super chat right there, bro. $50 super chat. I suspect if he was talking to someone with a bunch of encrypted chat apps. Why? Like, why? Don't understand that at all. Upgrade the home. What's a home? Real inconvenience when your battery power peripherals die mid-use because you forgot to charge them. That too. I don't know, Vincenzo. Haven't gotten around to it much. I don't know what that means, Fred. I don't know what that means, Fred. No idea. There's no such thing as an upgrade nowadays because the newer the phone, the more expensive they are and the more features they're missing. You used to get a user removable battery, a headphone jack, a micro SD card slot. Now you just get to dig up the ass from the carrier. Oh, and you used to have an unlocked bootloader a micro SD card slot, a user removable battery, and a headphone jack. Now you get a locked bootloader, no micro SD card slot, no headphone jack, no user removable battery, and a 12-inch Ron Jeremy sized dick up the ass from the carrier. They consider you an X in this model with graphene. Which one, DuPont? Of which phone? The S10e, the S10e. You managed to put graphene on an S10e and it works? Yo, that would be cool. This over here is a Pixel 4a 5G on gym Wi-Fi. You can plug headphones in the USB-C port now. Yeah, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I plugged the charger into the USB-C port and I plugged my microphone into the headphone jack. No, you ain't taking away a port. You ain't taking away my port without a good reason. Or I'm making the phone free. See, if you make the phone free, you pass on that savings to me, the customer, I'll be okay with it. A lot of times when you hear about people hiding chats, they're typically cheating. You're confusing two separate things, bro. Okay, so, firstly, using an app like Signal versus your SMS app makes no difference whatsoever to your boyfriend's ability or your girlfriend's ability to see your stuff if they have a password to your phone. If I have your phone's password, I can read your SMS as well as your Telegram and your Signal. The point of Telegram and Signal is not to hide shit from the people around you, it's to hide shit from people that would be snooping in on an unencrypted conversation. Now, if you're the type of dude that's tapping into the fucking T-Mobile so that you can see what messages your girlfriend's sending people, I would suggest that your girlfriend is a lot more to fear from you than you have to fear from your girlfriend. Because in a normal relationship, you don't tap into your significant other's unencrypted communications. You have a conversation with them. If you think they're cheating, you talk to them. You don't try to get a fucking warrant and have Verizon send over a copy of the unencrypted communications from the NSA's Utah data center. If somebody has my phone password, they could read all my Signal and Telegram messages as well as my SMS. You're missing the point by a large amount. But most people don't even use the encrypted messages feature of Telegram because they assume it's encrypted by default, which it's not. Signal is, Telegram isn't. Telegram goes for usability and being able to sync messages to your desktop across platforms easier. What a pretty woman. You're not making any point there in Turk. Then you're not making any point. In that case, you're not making any point at all. You're just completely obfuscating the conversation for no good reason. Get Xperia 1V 1.4. Xperia 1.4. It does, I know, that's so cool, except the only problem with the Xperia is I don't know if it works with Lineage. I don't want to use it with stock Android. The other problem is that phones last time I looked, the higher end Xperias were like $1,200. Blue on the back of my S10 Plus peeled due to the heat having in the outer box. Yeah, Samsungs get really hot. Then again, this Pixel actually gets really hot too. Yeah, this Pixel is kind of hot while streaming this. The phone is micro SD, removable battery, and 3.5-inch jack, but I got it in 2016. Samsung S5, my friend. You got it. You have an S5, don't you? You're now in Texas. Yes. How many of your New York employees came with you? 0. When the space is ready, when the space that we're going to use as a store is ready, I'm looking at taking 6 people. No Blue Sky. I think the Pixel 4a is around the $200 price point. I believe any device will get hot with what you're asking. Yeah, but Samsungs are hot even when they're barely doing anything. Like the Moto... I don't know what a Poco phone is. My phone is never as hot. Yeah, I want my next phone also to be something with a budget processor. I don't want a flagship. So the thing is, there's nothing I do. The only thing I do with my phone that could arguably use a better processor, if I'm going to be doing a stream that's static at 3 megabit per second, then I would, if I am using a static bitrate, what I'd want to do is have the device use a higher preset for encoding H.264 or H.265. But you don't really get to set any of that in the YouTube app. So since I can't actually edit any of those settings and mess with the CPU usage and all that, and the preset and the encoding settings or FFmpeg, I'd rather actually have them. I don't do anything on my phone that requires an amazing processor in 2022. I'd rather have a device that lasts longer and runs cooler, by far. So I'd actually want to have a cheap processor in my phone, not an expensive one. I don't want a flagship. No flagship for me. That's true, Caesar. Very true about the coverage. I don't even want to use a hotspot because I carry around enough stuff as is. I got an extended battery case. I have my microphone. I have the fluffy thing on my microphone, so my pockets are already kind of filled with stuff. A HAKKO phone. It sounds like a meme, but I will look at it. But I'll be honest with you, it sounds like a meme. It sounds very close to Pine phone. Mr. Brownlee reviewed it. I'll check it out. I thought of moving to Texas before, but bailed because I didn't want to be too far from family. You find it difficult making that decision? No, I've been far from family for a long time. T-Mobile is complete bad. Losing your tech knowledge lately or what? 2 for 2 now. No, you're just mad because I called you out on the fake election bullshit so dirty. Because you've been fucking brainwashed into copium and bullshit. I'll keep calling you out on it too. It's adorable how brainwashed you are. But yeah, the more brainwashed you are, the more sure of yourself you are too, as you go down the rabbit hole of insanity and bullshit. Yeah. T-Mobile is fine as long as you don't travel to remote locations. Yeah, and I've been thinking about that. Like, I'm not really doing much traveling out to the middle of nowhere anymore. Like before, I was doing a lot of traveling around the country. And now it's really like Austin, Round Rock, you know, back and forth, up and down between like Austin and Round Rock, Pflugerville, maybe occasional trip to Dallas or Houston. But I don't spend much time in the rural areas. And since I'm not traveling to rural areas anymore, going cross country, it doesn't make... I think like having something that's better in the metropolitan area, rather than having a system that's really, really good for when I'm in the middle and nowhere, makes more sense for me. Yeah, there's nutbags on everywhere paper, but I call them out of my chat in a bipartisan manner. Shady, same with AT&T. By far, I don't mean moving out of the house, I mean like being so far from them. Yeah, I mean, like my dad and my stepmom are in Wisconsin, so whether I'm in Texas or whether I'm in New York, I'm kind of equally far away from them. You tried using MovNose? No. Now that you live in Texas, when are you gonna get the Stetson hat and snakeskin boots? I don't know. I'm not gonna become a meme. I don't know how much of that is still true, to be honest with you. Like, I have a lot of people that they actually believe that the people from New York City go, "Hey, I'm walking here," because they watched too many 1970s movies, and they think that in 2022 that is what New York actually looks and sounds like, and it doesn't. Not even close. So I'm very curious if that meme, if that ideal, or that caricature of what a Texan is actually still true. I guess I'll find out. I thought your family was still in New York. The good parts of my family left New York 10 years ago. And the parts of my family that are in New York are parts of my family that I have zero interest in speaking to. Yeah, I got that set up a month ago, high voltage. The most important thing when buying a phone from any carrier is making sure the phone still has all the supportive bands. That should be easier than it is. Most carrier websites, they just want to show you a list of phones that they suggest, they don't, rather than give you the bands. Usually you got to dig a little bit to find the bands. I understand the T-Mobile SpaceX partnership is limited. To SMS for now, but eventually expand to phone internet. I want to try a new OS, but my Honor View 10 is possible to root now. You're watching to see which way you go. Yeah, it really sucks that more and more phones are becoming impossible to root, and people are just putting up with it. People are rolling over for way too much stuff nowadays that I don't think they should be rolling over for. And like, they're not going to care about it until it's too late. People are happy to trade convenience in the moment for so much. Like so much of their personal data, so much of their freedoms, their abilities to do what they want with what they own. And someday it's gonna come back to bite people in the ass. Sony Xperia 1.2 with headphone jack, SD card, you can install Lineage OS 19.1, great CPU, doesn't run hot. Okay, so Xperia 1.2. By the way, does anybody know why Sony has this weird naming model, like 1 Roman numeral 4, or 1 Roman numeral 2, or 5 Roman numeral 1? It makes it very difficult to have a conversation about it. They can give you a free phone. What kind of phone do you want? Who's they? Discover your origins. Who are we talking about here? Usually, there's very little that's free unless you are the product, and I don't want to be the product anymore. You decide to phone will eventually succeed your S10e. I can't Pixel 5a without the SD card slot. I need the SD card slot, man. I'm thinking an Exynos, Enixos, I don't know how the fuck you say it. The foreign S10e with a carrier where I could still use it with Lineage OS. Do you do that with Tesla? Doesn't it send data constantly? My car does not read my email. It does not. My car does not know what websites I browse. My car does not know how I bank. My car does not know who I text. My car, yeah, because I don't sync any of that shit. I use a manual key. My car is a very, very limited portion of my life. T-Mobile was pretty stable for me then. I'm not far from you. Then again, it might not be the best example because I'm lazy and still on 4G. The day that I'm next to my car and I start talking about Lucha burritos and I get an ad on the screen for Lucha burritos, but then I'm out of there. The day that happens, I take that car and I run it off a bridge. They are, Aaron. And they'd be able to do it because nobody else has an electric offering worth a shit. Always got the Snapdragon variant over Exynos. Performance and thermals are terrible in Exynos. Well, I mean, the thermals are bad on. The thermals are pretty bad. The thermals are pretty bad on the Snapdragon one. Your car knows where you go and has video. That car takes 5 minutes to load a map. There's no way in hell it has any ability to send that video anywhere. That shit can barely load a website. Have you seen Sonny's car? Have you guys seen Sonny's car on Sonny's channel? I don't know if he's done a video on this. Try loading a website on Sonny's car. Try loading a map on Sonny's car. That shit can't load coordinates. My biggest fear with the EV shift for cars is that you basically have no used car market after 15 years and the battery's dead. One thing I'm curious about, JP, is if they make, like, right now a lot of electric cars are designed based on the battery being like a 1,000 or 1,500 pound part. If we come up with some insanely light battery technology 20 years from now, will you be able to refurbish those cars, or are you going to have to toss bricks in the battery if we have a much lighter battery technology? I'm very curious. One day you'll be thinking about burritos and your car will automatically go and get it for you. I think it's dangerous that new cars run Android Automotive. I mean, built in Android OS. Are they running Android open source project, or are they running some like filled with Samsung, Google, AT&T bloatware Android though? You guys think your phones are so bad because they get warm to the touch? Meanwhile, mine jumps to 78 Celsius when I open Firefox. What are you using? Just because it doesn't load doesn't mean it's not tracking your data. I can build a website that runs like crap that tracks all your actions. I don't know what to tell you, Aaron. I don't know what to tell you. I guess we should all just never push back against anything and completely get fucked. I guess we should all get fucked permanently in every aspect of our life, in every sector. And never seek to minimize harm in any way, shape, or form. Lewis, robots can blow up too. What robot? What are you talking about? Hello, Alana. Long time no see, Alana. How are you? We're gonna have to shift to Firefox. Chrome is removing ad blocker extensions. I shifted to Firefox back a few weeks ago. It's a giant compromise because there's something that YouTube uses that's only in Chrome. I forget what it is. I read about this a while ago. But when you're actually using YouTube's interface, in particular the back-end studio interface, it's so much slower in Firefox. It makes you want to punch a wall. I trust Mozilla Foundation a little more if I want to save browser history, bookmarks, and sync it across devices than I do Chrome. Firefox isn't too bad. I use Firefox on mobile too. I've never used casting before. Here's the thing, Aaron. Here's what kills me. Microsoft got fucked in the ass because they included Internet Explorer with Windows. Like, that was that. And Microsoft got fucked. Google owns every aspect of your digital life. Is by far, typically eons ahead of every other company and platform in everything they do. They bundle and toss in all of their shit, whether or not you want it. They're spying on you all the time by default, and nothing happens. Because that's the thing. If somebody wants to say, well, what Google's doing isn't really that bad, then you got to go back to the 90s with Microsoft and go, well, is it really that bad that they included a browser with the operating system for you? Google includes Chrome with Android. I mean, it's on 50% of the phones that get used around the world. It tracks what you're doing and sends data back on a regular basis that they use to profit from. And that's okay. They have the leading video platform by a large margin. Odyssey, unfortunately, at this time, while I root for them, is a joke. Gets 300 views for a trending video. I have the leading email platform, leading maps platform, leading everything. It's one of these... Well, the thing I noticed, Rossi, and this is the thing that I noticed with Edward Snowden as well. What I noticed with Edward Snowden is that when the Edward Snowden shit came out 9 years ago, there was an even split where people that were over the age of 42 thought he should go to prison for the rest of his life, and people under the age of 42 thought he was a hero. What I noticed is that it was the political affiliation, Democrat versus Republican, didn't matter. Rich versus poor didn't matter. It seemed to be really divided along age, the line of age. And I think where this comes from, and tell me if you think I'm full of shit, is that older people tend to trust, they seem to have had a little bit more trust for their government. Again, this is pre-Trump era. This is before MAGA became a thing, and this whole, all the anti-establishment populism, brain-dead anti-establishment populism became the brain-dead anti-establishment reactionary populism became the default for boomers. Before that, back in 2013-14, people that were in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they actually had some level of trust for their government. They thought, my dad said, there are some things that you just trust the government with because we can't know. And then there were people my age that said, nah, fuck that shit. No, you're not going through all my fucking phone calls, messages, emails, and doing, breaking my Fourth Amendment rights on a regular basis. Screw that. I don't trust you. And if there's a higher chance of a terrorist attack, so be it. I noticed that. And I really think what it comes down to is that the last few, the generations before mine had a greater trust in government. Again, this is before 2016. Okay, I need to get some water. Fucking vending machine at the gym doesn't work, so I have to use the fountain. I'm telling you, the one day I forget my fucking water bottle is the day that I go to a gym that doesn't have a working vending machine. Now it seems to have gone the opposite. Well, Aaron, again, to be clear, to make my distinction, this is pre-2015, 2016. I guess I should say it maybe phrase it differently, Aaron. Older generations appeared to be okay with the government just doing shit that we didn't know about. And this generation's like, nah, screw that. Like, think about it. Look at the commentary back when the Snowden thing came out. A lot of the people I noticed that were they thought Edward Snowden was a hero were young, and the people that thought he was a traitor were old. It's fine, Jordan. I can't trust you when you use all caps. The water doesn't use all caps, so I can trust it. You use all caps, so I don't know. This is Din Dog, it's an elliptical. I do this instead of running because it's easier on my knees. Maybe that too, Akbosi. Sony Xperia 1 Mark II. That's too weird. Sony Xperia 1 Mark II, Sony Xperia 5 Mark I, Sony Xperia, too many. Very bad naming scheme they have. Old, pre-2016 conservative boomers are basically no-con status. Of course they wanted Snowden thrown in prison. Yeah, I understand. Imagine if Trump had pardoned Snowden. That would have been interesting. It would have thrown a serious wrench into the criticism of him that he's an authoritarian, if he did that. Agreed, thief rules. Like Sony has the MDR V6 headphones, which are awesome, and then they have the V600, which got sold in Best Buy, which were garbage. But you'd think that the higher number would be more betterer. Not only is it not the same series, it wasn't made for the same group of users, but it sucks. Thank you, Alana, for encouraging people to like the stream. Also, you better be getting some exercise in, Alana. I'm not doing this by my own. I'm not doing this by myself. You'd better be getting to work. Get out there and go to the gym. Shit, that's not just for her. Let's be fair. This is for all of you. All of you need to go out there and get to the gym. I did my weights already. Now I do my cardio. Because many people want to be streamers of some sort. I'm surprised there isn't a phone purpose-built for streaming all day without overheating or going dead. I mean, there's no point to innovate. Like, nobody can risk it. Once they figure out like in the beginning you'll have a lot of different designs. And then once one becomes the winner, then everybody emulates the winner. Because to produce a device that's a flop, that doesn't emulate what already works, means risking becoming a company that's irrelevant. And nobody wants to risk becoming irrelevant. Sure. I took a few days off work and I've done nothing but watch YouTube the past 2 days. What do you have on, Din Dog? What's in your radar? Thanks for showing us what business of life were like when you were in New York. I visited in 1993. I will not return. Thank you. I just watched Heavy D Sparks recover an RV from the mountain. That sounds cool. You actually Googled that, JP. You had that in mind from 30 minutes ago. Jeez. No, require pen. I do weights and then cardio. I think this is LA Fitness, negative narwhals. This is LA Fitness, I believe. I don't know, Q, I haven't looked. Yeah, I'm back to doing real weights. Now that I found out where I'm gonna live, I figured I would get a gym nearby that I like. So now I can do real weights. I can do my shoulder press with a proper 135-pound barbell, free weight. I can do deadlifts, real deadlifts, not the freaking 75-pound dumbbell, fake deadlifts. I can do proper free weight squats, free weight bench press, bent over rows with a heavy barbell. Good stuff. I'm hoping that my physique comes back. I've been losing a lot off of my physique in the past 2 months by using Planet Fitness machine bullshit. I think I've done heavy weights only like twice in the last 2 months. And I've lost a lot off my arm. Like, I used to not have this in my shirt over here. So like in the bottom of my shirt, if I did this, like there used to not be any seam between my shirt and my arm. And now I can actually stick a finger in there. So I lost an entire finger's worth of muscle by going to Planet Fiction, which is not a real gym. Planet Fiction is a bullshit gym. But just the fact that they don't have any free weights there. Like no fucking barbell. It's just garbage. No squat rack, no barbell. Ugh. Riding garbage? I don't know what the hell that means. Lewis mentioned his father's in Wisconsin. He's not in Milwaukee, no. He's in a much quieter area. Thank you, Q's. Thank you very much. Lots of Zoomers to say natural lifting is a waste of time. I don't know what you mean by natural lifting. Is there such thing as unnatural? I guess unnatural would be steroids and natural would be lifting. I guess natural is a waste of time if you're open to doing steroids. But I don't want to do steroids because I don't want to have a small pee-pee and a big heart. I want to have a tiny heart and a big pee-pee. I don't want to have a tiny pee-pee and a giant, rich piano-sized heart. So I prefer to avoid the steroids myself. I prefer to get it naturally, you know? It feels better that way. Feels better to get it naturally. My exes will vouch for the fact that I have a tiny heart. and a giant peepee. I guess I'd like to have a large heart in the metaphorical sense, but not in the actual sense. Like, enlarged organs suck. Citation, Rich Piano. I don't want to die at 50. I want more than 16 years. I'd like far more than 16 years. We can't go over that again, Voss. It's never... It's an elliptical. I had a skinny friend that took bull shark to Tatron for a while. I can firmly say it had about the same effect on him as a sugar high. Often you go to a seismogged. I don't know what seismog means. That's a weird term that doesn't make any sense, and I've never heard a human being use it in my 34 years on Earth. Steroid shrink the testicles and give you black acne as well. Not very cute. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Large physical heart just sets you up for endless hospital stays from the whole spectrum of cardiac issues. Yeah, I'd prefer that my heart get exercised by cardio, not by getting enlarged from steroids. Steroids make everything bigger except what you want to have bigger. I'm not interested in a big heart. I'd like my heart to be healthier at the size that it currently is. Who knows, Din Dog? Who knows? When the movers get it there. When the movers get it there. If I were to actually believe any of the dates they gave me, I'd be more gullible than people who believe the Genius Bar when they say that you need a new motherboard. I'd be more gullible than somebody that thinks that the Inflation Reduction Act will reduce inflation. I'd be more gullible than somebody thinks it's 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I'd be more gullible than somebody that believes Trump when he says it was a stolen election. I gave the people who picked up a nice tip. I told them to tell the people that are going to be doing the delivery and the driving that there is more of that waiting for them if they get my shit here in a timely fashion. And that's all we can hope for. They were incredibly happy. The supervisor said that they've never gotten anything that generous before. Besides when they moved stuff out of some Park Avenue apartment, but they gave the same that I did. So 3 people showed up, and I gave each of the 3 people $300 as a tip. And I told them, tell the person who's driving the truck and the person who's unloading that there's more of that if they get my shit here in one piece in a timely manner. He's like, yes, sir, thank you very much, sir. I will personally manage everything. Like, a little bit of appreciation goes a long way. It's like, you know, I was making some food when the mover came by. I offered him some. Little shit like that. Because usually movers are used to not being treated like human beings. They're used to being treated like scum. Like they're beneath you in some way, you know, because they move boxes instead of do some collegiate level work. They really appreciate being treated like a human. Oh yeah, for the audio. This is the reason that I want a headphone jack on my phone so bad. So this is a $55 microphone I have plugged into this phone. I'm not using the phone audio. This is a shotgun microphone. And I have this attachment for when I go outside. So the thing, you know, everybody says, why do you want this old technology? Why do you want a headphone jack? Because it's better. Android does not allow me to use my Bluetooth microphone for YouTube streaming. There's no option for that. But even if there was, the Bluetooth protocol, you can do high quality lossless listening, but the actual microphone gets nerfed down to like a 1960s telephone. The technology, they just didn't put enough bandwidth in the protocol for you to have a good microphone. They put enough for a good listening experience, but not a good microphone. But even if they did, the app doesn't work. Now again, Jordan, digital could do that. Digital could do that just fine. It's just the development resources haven't been put there. Because very few people have this crazy nutbag use case of wanting to be able to yell into their phone at a gym and have audiophile level quality. But I have this nutbag use case. That's what this thing is over here. It's my microphone. You hear that? By the way, any of you have a subwoofer? How does that sound? Yeah, I just figured out if any of you got a cutoff on your speakers, by the way. Define timely. I don't have a definition for any of this, Dim Dog. There's no definition. No definition. They're movers. There's no such thing as on time. See, I understand what my expectations should be. Thoughts on show speed. I have no idea what that is, so I can't have a thought on something I've never heard of in my life. Seriously, dangerously. My sub was turned off, thank God. Frequency was too high for it to do anything to my sub. What if I had a plosive in there? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers on a plosive. That's what we did when we did our office move. We tipped the guys loading and then unloading 200 each. Yeah, it's JP, it's insurance against them fucking everything up. And you should see the work that these dudes did. They retaped every single one of my boxes, and they actually tested it to see if you turn it upside down, were any of them messed up. They retaped every single one of my boxes, and they reboxed 3 of them. Like, they put in so much work and effort to make sure my shit arrived in good condition. Because, like, for all I know, like, I thought that tipping that way was usual. It's not, apparently. The reaction I got from them, it was like, I'm the first person in the 15 years he worked at this moving company to treat him like a human being. It's like, dude, it's $300. It's not $3 million. I'll never understood why people go to the gym or use an elliptical or a treadmill instead of going for a hike or a jog, which would be better for their mental health. I mean, okay. I don't understand why people think like that without a basic understanding or knowledge of the body and fitness. So running puts, for any given pulse that you wish to reach, running is going to put a lot more pressure and a lot more stress on your joints than an elliptical will. So if you have a joint issue, and you can get your pulse up way more using an elliptical than you will running. So I could go running if I wanted to, but I'm not going to get my pulse up to where it is with the elliptical. Not even close, without putting a lot of stress on my joints. That I don't feel like doing. I watched my dad go through 7 knee surgeries. When I turned 27, I would feel it a little bit in my knee when I went for a run, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, we're not going there. Like, my dad didn't stop running until his 30s or 40s, and now he has 2 artificial knees. No thanks. Not for me. Plus, my mental health will be fucked regardless of whether I climb a mountain. A mountain's not going to fix my mental health. A mountain's not going to fix my mental health. But yeah, an elliptical is way better on your knee than actual running is. What I do is, I do sprint running, where I'll do 30 meters for, to see how fast I can get myself to do short-term running. It's more of a strength exercise than a cardio. Like, I'll put stress on my knees for, a 30-meter run or a 100-meter sprint. But I'm not going to do an hour of cardio running. That's just torture for my joints. I would be happy if I got a $300 tip. What do you do, Alana? Are you in a typical industry? I remember reading how jogging for men is unhealthy, something about the arteries. I never read about that. The worst part is unpacking when you get to the new place. Boxes everywhere, you gotta find shit, no fun. Yeah, it's gonna suck. I have been trying to eat healthy, Vincenzo, and I believe I have been. I don't think your HVAC is looking for a tip. They're probably being paid 50 to 75 an hour. I tip everybody that's doing service work for me on something that matters. I used to tip Uber until they started raping people. Like, I stopped tipping Uber after that. Like, when Uber was $6 to $8 to get from my store to my apartment, I would tip them 20 bucks. When Uber became $50 to go from my store to my apartment, I tipped them $0. Like, you got paid $50 for a you got paid $50 for a 17-minute cab ride. No tip for you. But it's mostly if it's service work on something that matters to me. Again, like, let's say an HVAC person, right? If I own my home and I've paid $600,000 for my home, and I'm responsible for the HVAC system, I'll tip the HVAC dude a few $100. Because I don't want him to fuck me. If something goes wrong with my system, if there's anything that may screw me later, if there's any area where he may be like cutting a corner, I want him to feel some guilt for cutting that corner and not cut it. Because there's a lot of things that people can do to screw you over down the line that you'll never even know about. The guys who moved us said they might get $50 to $100 to split between all three of them. Yeah, that sucks. I would throw... If I got paid that little, I definitely treating people's boxes very well, which is why I'm not a mover. I got a $100 tip once for doing alterations same day for... I'm a rich guy. That's cool. What happened with the things that were still in your apartment after the movers left? Thrown away. Tossed out junk. Junk. You seem happy when you're traveling around and experiencing nature. Just getting away from everything, enjoying a nice natural view. It really does, Chuck. I've separated my nature from my exercise, though. Like, I don't do nature as exercise, I do nature for fun. And then... because I realize that gives me an excuse to say, here's the thing I used to do with exercise. I used to say this is exercise when it's not. I noticed that with Planet Fitness. You know, like I'd say, well, I walked a lot today, so I guess I don't have to go do cardio. And I do that for a week, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is all this extra shit? Or I'd say, you know, people do that a lot. Like, I lifted boxes today, I don't have to go to the gym. Or, you know, I ran today, I don't have to go to the gym. And then you shrink. So I hear what you're saying. I separate my nature from my workouts. Like, I try to figure out for cardio, what's the most efficient thing for me to get the maximum done in a certain amount of time. For weightlifting, what's the most efficient for me to get the most swole in the least amount of time. And then anything else, like, is separate. I try to separate my recreation from my exercise. Because I just don't want to bullshit myself into saying that I'm getting a certain level of exercise when I'm not. Like, I'm at a point where if I'm going to move up in fitness at all, I have to be very razor focused with what I'm doing. Or I'm not going to move up to the next level or even maintain what I currently have. But I appreciate your noticing me happy in nature. Thank you. I appreciate that. I label my boxes, but I label them very generally, so it's going to be a miserable pain in the ass when it all arrives. After upgrading all the computers from one of my longtime customers, they tipped me $3,000. They also always pay me for the actual time I spend on their stuff and refuse any discounts I offer. That's a person that values the service you provide, Mike. That's a good thing. They're appreciative and they want you to stick around. People that really value what you do don't ask for discounts because they want to see you be successful. They want to see you profit because they need you to profit so you stay in business. I thought it was hilarious when we were down in Florida experiencing wildlife for the first time, like that lizard in the tree. But that was weird. I thought he was going to eat me. Most people didn't understand that us, as dope New Yorkers, how dope nature is to us. How dope. Oh. All right, here we go. Today I was slow. So see, again, I haven't done this in a while. So usually I do 600 calories in 46 to 48 minutes. Today I did 600 calories in 59 minutes, which is bullshit. But I was kind of slacking because I was streaming while I was doing the exercise. I was kind of slacking. I toss out people that haggle. It's good to broaden your horizons, lots of new things for you to experience. Hopefully, Hannah, hopefully. All right. We're gonna do that every single fucking day. No cheating, no lowering it to, like, I'm only gonna do 200 today, or 150 or 300 or 400. I'm gonna go back to 600 a day every single day. See y'all later. That was a good exercise.